We're on. Yep. Okay, call this meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. This will be our first meeting for our fire committee for year 2026. And really have some great news tonight for not only the committee, but anybody watching and anybody else that wants to listen. This is Groundhog Day, February the 2nd, 2026. And the good news is it's going to be an early spring. Well, we didn't see a shadow, and he's usually very accurate and right on. So early spring, so that should make us all feel real good.
Now we get to blame it on Paul.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, this meeting will be streamed live and recorded for public viewing on the town's YouTube page using the following link. And that would be www.youtube.com/@town-of-Plympton-Wyoming/streams. Item number 2 on the agenda tonight, if anybody has a during your interest, you can now or at any time throughout the meeting. Item number 3 on the agenda tonight, adoption of committee minutes. That was moved by Jerry Action, second by Christian Rodriguez. The minutes be adopted by the Fire Executive Committee. Those confidential minutes of the closed sessions of committee remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information Protection of Privacy Act. And that would be the Fire Exec Committee meeting minutes of November the 10th, 2025. And those minutes should be in your package. You want to just take a second to have a look at them. There's any corrections or changes or something you didn't say or whatever, let Nicole know if you would correct it. Okay, nothing. Opportunity. Okay, all in favor? Minutes? Gary, thank you. Item number 4. Business arising, the previous minutes. 12.1, fire protection grant. Will, would you like to speak on that, Chief?
Chair, I can speak on that. We have just recently received the funding, or noticed that we were receiving the funding anyways, for the grant, and I don't have that number in front of me. Is it or not? I had previously emailed council to let them know what we expected to be getting, and that was exactly what they gave us. It was 37,000 and change.
Right.
And that was to go towards hose decontamination units. We could decontaminate the fire hose before it goes back to the station, back in, and even before it goes back on the apparatus. So one for each station. And the grant also included funds for lithium-ion battery emergencies. So we included 2 thermal imaging cameras, one for each station there. And then back onto the cancer prevention stream of that grant, we included purchasing some bunker gear, and I can't remember off the top of my head how many sets of gear that included. I'd have to look that up and get back to you, but it included having extra bunker gear so that firefighters had access to spare gear so that they can wash their gear without being worried about the main gear being out of service, and then they have spare gear to promote them keeping it clean.
So the grant is 36,223.56.
36,223.56.
according to your email.
Yeah, and it was just exactly that.
Okay, any comments on that? Gary, Kristen?
Yay.
Yeah, it's all good
It's all
news.
good.
Hopefully they
Very good cause.
continue to support us in that stream. There's still work to do with cancer prevention, so it's a very good cause, right?
It certainly helps things out a bit there, and especially in bunker gear and with that. Thank you, Chief. Okay. Any other business arising from those previous minutes? Anybody got anything at all? Okay. Then moving on, number 5, accounts, 5.1, we got the November and the December payables. Gary?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple things. First of all, Chief, going to the November ones. The award for firefighter of the year, was that the Milwaukee station one?
And through the chair, you're correct, that is the Kimlaki Firefighters Association award, so that money it's already been done, it's been reimbursed back to us. It's just invoiced it out to the association.
Good, thank you. Just a quick question, comp psych for EAP services, the funding that we paid, is that for services rendered, or is that a basic remuneration to keep us in their web, or what is that one from, Chief?
Through the chair, that'll be our basic premium based on the number of members. EAP.
All right.
That's for a membership?
For assistance.
We have from M&L Supply a hose vise that we purchased. Where would that be situated?
Through the chair, the hose vise, I saw that on there earlier. Finding it right now, but it's a little bit misleading. I think that might be the brand name of the product. It is actually it's actually a bunch of strapping, kind of an apparatus that holds a hose load. So we have like an apartment pack is what we call it. So we take this this bundle of hose to inside a building or to a remote area. It's actually the pack that holds it.
Oh, it's not the hose itself.
Not a vise. It's not. Yeah, it's not the hose itself. It's just a thing to hold it into that bundle.
And that'll transfer from one station to the other?
Well, it stays, I believe that was Wyoming station. You
Yeah.
didn't get that.
No.
A different one,
Yeah.
but similar. So yeah, that was for the Wyoming station, something that District Chief Freer had ordered.
Mr. Chair, that's all I have for November.
Carry on December.
Yeah, we carry on. Right, thank you. Keep going to December. See that, I just have one there. We did something with Bearcom about a tower. Is that a maintenance thing that we did, or did we do, is that routine, I should say, or is that a replacement that we did? Oh, sorry on that one, Chief.
Through the chair, so repairs 2 towers. This was, and I spoke a bit about this at budget time. This was our updating of equipment that's becoming obsolete. So they're doing these continuous repairs, and I was at the time saying, you know, these are getting to be pretty big expenses, and we should be trying to get a reserve fund so we can put so much in each year and try to project how much it's you know, it's gonna be over a period of time because I expect it's gonna come, you know, in 3 years, it'll be a big amount of money and then it'll go a few years without too much. So that we don't have those spikes in our budget.
This tower, is this used for us for our own, or do we, is it go to?
It'll be the,
Wide.
it'll be the whole system and that's our share based on 2 stations within the whole county system.
You. Mr. Chair, I have nothing else. I think,
Excited. Yay. So on November page 1. The ladder 3 aerial inspections, so. This is going to be the annual inspection, I guess, or are they included deficiencies they found? Is that the base price or the base price plus? For ladder 3, the 4,858, because we really didn't have a good feel on the base test for ladder 3, so I'm just wondering.
Through the chair, so that that line item that you're seeing there is basically the annual cost. There was a repair on the valve. But any of the re-greasing of the ladder and waterways, that's all an annual thing. So a small portion of that, I'm gonna say was maintenance.
Okay.
But I'd expect year after year, you'll see
So like,
certain things will need to be fit in there as well. It may not be the same valve, but a different valve or a gauge. So that's likely to be a pretty consistent price.
and down at the bottom of those carrier emergency vehicles, ground ladder testing. Who's, I don't know what that is, but is it an annual thing too?
Yeah, so that through the chair, that's each of our, what we call ground ladders, the smaller ladders that we have on all of the apparatus that come off, and they're extension ladders that get tested annually, yes.
How many are there? It's quite a fee.
Don't have a count. Do you know how many are in your station?
We got 2 extensions, 2 roof ladders.
Probably
2 attic ladders.
a dozen ladders in
Yeah.
total.
Oh, so is this for both stations?
Yes.
And. First aid training for 9 firefighters. So that works out to about 750 per person,
Which
plus the manuals. We're going down. Oh,
emergency
6 lines.
procedure, yes, sorry. Yeah, through the chair, that's our EFR, that's emergency first responder level training, so that was for 9 firefighters. And then we need manuals for them as well, and we've now labeled the manuals, and we're gonna keep them for the next that it's, instead of having them with people, we'll keep them.
Yeah, because it's really expensive. Manuals. So are you planning on doing like 9 at a time or?
We plan to run through the chair, we plan to run 1 class per year. We were running 2 and having limited success at filling either one of them. Minimums of, I believe it was 6, maximum of 10 in each class. So we were having problems filling 2 classes, so the thought now is we'll just offer it for 1 class with those same minimum and maximums, and just, you know, keep as many people certified to their EFR standard as possible.
So are we behind or are we on par? Or?
Well, considering that we've had no one certified to the standard prior to 2 years ago, it's something we used to do years ago and then it fell off. So really it was driven from our firefighters who felt they needed a bit more training when they're at these medical calls. They didn't feel they were properly prepared to deal with them with the basic level of first aid they were getting. So this is a little more advanced.
Is this is not a requirement?
This is not a provincial requirement, but it is very much standard for fire departments. You know, it's a pretty basic level of training that a lot of fire departments have.
How long does it take?
It's they'll call it a 3 day, so they usually do it in 1 night and 2 days.
Oh, it's fascinating. Isn't some of it online?
This is not,
Oh,
no, it's all in person, it's all scenario driven. Really, really good feedback from the program.
Okay. Okay. And then I see at the bottom, we bought 40-foot container with some grant funds. And then this is 40-foot container on both things, funds from grant, and then went to the expense. So we went over
So through
on
the,
the, I don't know, what is that?
through the chair, that is the 40-foot container, like a sea container that we purchased through our AODA grant. And so part of it was paid for through that AODA grant, and the rest through our building expense account. Same container, just one container.
Yeah, no, I got that. So, where?
Storage. And mostly at the Wyoming station, and the 1932 pumper will store it in it so that it's not out. Or I'll take up space for one thing, but to get, you know, scratched and dented and become a big catch-all for everything.
On page 2. Um. We had to replace some lighting at Kamlaki Fire Station.
Through the chair, yes, that bill there from Lockhart Electric was about one of the trucks, and we that was driven from our health and safety inspection where they noted that it's red.
And then we go down to municipality village and shore. Favorite people. So we have the fourth quarter payment on the I didn't even remember what the wording is, but then the first one, or the second line is first aid agreement. On top of 4,000, we have an $1,119 charge, so I just wanted to. I thought we only paid them one fee every quarter. So I don't know what the second line is for.
Through the chair, if I may, I can follow up with that, but when I read that originally, I thought it was our regular fourth quarter charge, and then that was our fee for service with the other. Nicole's giving me the nod, so that $1,100 is the fee for them responding.
Oh, I didn't realize we had any. I thought in the last conversations there hadn't been,
I don't think there had been until,
but there was one.
yeah.
Is this just for one?
House.
I mean, is everything okay on that call? I hope. That's good. Hopefully. And I did want to know the 2,000 in revenue. CTA on for November, and then we got 5,000 in December, so we did good on some fees there. The majority, I guess, are the NPO or
So through the chair, and that's Nicole's done a lot of work with this billing, so pretty content that we're getting all we can get out of these bills, so
yes, it's
it's
nice.
good work.
Do we happen to know what our total is for 2025 yet?
We'll get it on our we'll get our updated budget.
You want to surprise
You know, I don't know what it is.
me? All right, for December. Page one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down, hose tester. Did we budget for that? And what did we?
To the chair, so we budgeted for hose and appliances and bought us a hose tester, which is a device that we can use to test our hose. Is a requirement under NFPA that we actually test our hose. It's supposed to be tested annually. And we have, and the district chief can correct me if I'm wrong, but traditionally not been living up to the testing requirements that we should have been. Part of that is because if we the only way we had to do it was to send it out and have it done by a contractor, which is very expensive. So we now have the ability to do it in-house, test our own hose. There's nothing saying it has to go out. And that hose tester also will work as a pressure washer. So it'll stay in the Kimlaki station. And the Kimlaki station was short a pressure washer. So now they'll have the pressure washer plus the hose tester. So use it as it's the same pump. So use it as a pressure washer every day and then test hose with it once or twice a year as needed. So we will have, if I may go in a little further with that, we'll have a little bit of backlog to pick up on the hose and make sure it gets tested back onto a regular schedule. And then we'll have to see what our members can realistically handle doing and get as much hose tested as we can annually. So I think it's a good thing that it fit nicely in our budget in amongst those accounts.
So you knew what my next question was going to be. Can it realistically be done in-house? So you're going to, because that's $12,000 expense and sending them over testing, you know, charging over the beneficial launch cost effective.
So I won't candy coat the answer on that. It is something that was done when the hose got run over. And that's about it.
Oh.
And now it's gonna get done as much as we will be about 100% more than it was getting done. Accurate.
Yeah, and I think the cost for that was 4,400.
Yeah.
12.
There was other stuff added there.
Okay, and down the bottom middle area, County of Lambton. I don't know, I'm not sure. I don't think we were asked about that one. 2025 LCF upgrade. 5,900.
So I pretty sure that one was the damage from a storm. There was tower damage back at the end of the summer, and then did some work on it. I think I'll follow up on that one though.
Like this, and or something hit anywhere in the county, those repairs get made and then the cost gets shared between all of the departments in the county.
The fire.
All the fire departments in the county, they'll share that expense. So I think that.
I feel like we've heard this before, I feel like I've heard this before, but we had already seen it on expenses, so are we getting installment?
Yeah, no, what we're seeing is hardware upgrades from our dealer, and you're seeing things that are controlled by the county as well.
So the Bearcom and the County of Lambton are like two different things going on with these towers?
Yes.
Okay, well, okay, yeah, thank you. So on page two, all the uniforms, state cost and tumblers.
Well, through the chair, I'll answer that. The tablecloths are. And you've probably seen them in public education displays and whatnot that fire departments do, but covers a regular table and then it has our fire crest on and it has a little slogan on it like smoke alarms save lives. So we have two now. Plympton-Wyoming branded, and they say one says smoke alarm saves lives, and the other says fire prevention starts with you, and to be used at our public education events. The tumblers where I had a little bit of money left in that account for awards, and I forget what we called that, but it was for the firefighters and appreciation. So they were small, like a plastic drink cup with the fire department
For the
crest.
firefighters.
For the firefighters, yes.
That would be it, thank you.
Would be it. Okay, thank you. You two pretty well have it covered, so I don't have any questions, so. Yeah, moved by Kristen Rodriguez, second by Gary Atkinson, the fire exec committee receives and approves the payables for November 2025, December 2025. Favor? You, Gary? Okay, moving on. Item number 6 on the agenda, staff reports. We don't have any items at this time. Bylaws, 7.1, no items at this time. Number 8, no correspondence items. Item number 9, correspondence recommended reading and routine approval. Information items, 9.1, resident thank you letter. I'll just read it out because I think it's very nice. I'd like to extend my sincere thanks and gratitude to all those involved in the Santa Claus drive-by that took place once again on Saturday. It overwhelms me that so many generous citizens volunteered their time to be part of this amazing parade. Your route involved every street, allowed us all to wave, donate, and to smile from our homes. Living in Plympton, Wyoming is a gift. Lived in the same house here for 38 years. It's a hidden gem, and there's no place I'd rather call home than Plympton, Wyoming. Merry Christmas, Wilma Zirkle. So very nice letter, and thank you firefighters for that. That's awesome. It's not the first comment I've heard about that. People are very pleased, so thank you. Kristen on the truck?
No.
He's in her driveway.
No, I'm in my driveway, ready to go. I'm there to get the grandkid.
9.2, new regulatory changes impacting firefighting foams. And there's an item there on that. Chief, would you like to make any comments on that?
You can. The chair, so this was an item we talked about at budget. And we've known for quite a while that this was coming, happened in other sectors. They talked about the airports and whatnot where it's already taken place. So this is to change the type of foam we currently use to make it safer for our firefighters and for the public. So we've already started to make the transition, and we saw that we support for it to continue on in this year's budget. The reality is we can't buy the foam that we used to buy. And my urgency to do this was primarily based on that we we heard somewhere in this document, it alludes to it that you will have to pay to dispose of it, and we're hearing that it's quite expensive to dispose of it. So we've learned some lessons along the way, one being that when you don't use the foam, the system that injects it starts to get sticky and doesn't work right, and you probably spend quite a bit of money in repairs. So we're hoping that with the new foam, I think it won't be as sticky, it won't cause as many mechanical problems, but we're hoping that we can use it a little bit more and keep those systems running. So this was just an FYI, it was put in here so that you could see where it was coming from, but we're well on our way to being out of this problem.
Is there any questions on that, Kristen?
Thank you. I don't. Like, there's a heading about it, but there is no document. Think am I missing? Oh, sorry.
There is, yeah. In the package, I think.
I was one line down, firefighter cancer awareness.
Oh. Okay, anything else on that topic? Yeah. Gary.
Just a comment, if I may, Mr. Chair. I want to congratulate the chief and the DCs for being proactive on this. I've experienced this in the working world where we had foam that just was going outdated and caused some problems. So, excuse me, but congratulations for being proactive on this, chief. I think it shows well. We're staying ahead of things. So, thank you for doing that, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 10. And tonight, new business, we'll start off here with 10.1, firefighter cancer awareness month. Very important topic. Chief, something to say on that, or the district chief speak on it, because it's a pretty important topic.
Certainly start out, so through the chair, January was Firefighter Cancer Awareness Month. The initiative started in 2024 as part of Bill C-224, an act to establish the national framework for the prevention and treatment of cancers linked to firefighters. Well, throughout the 4 full weeks of January, I sent an email out to each of our firefighters to talk about various things. So I'll just go over what each of the email, basically entailed. And I know I forwarded them on to the committee so that they could see in depth what was actually in the documents. But the first email introduced the firefighters to the federal and provincial efforts related to the prevention and treatment of firefighter occupational cancer, including understanding WSIB provisions and large-scale efforts to reduce the prevalence of firefighter cancer. Email number 2 talked about the early recognition of detection of cancer, including understanding signs and symptoms and how to perform self-detection of testicular, breast, and skin cancer. Email 3 explored preventing cancer through decontamination, good hygiene, and information on Plympton-Wyoming Fire Department cancer prevention initiatives. Some of these initiatives included 2 sets of soft goods packages whenever we purchase new fire helmets. And those are the pieces within the helmet that actually touch your skin, the ones that soak in the carcinogens. So it allows our firefighters to take them out after a fire and wash them and not worry about being out of service. And because what happens is a firefighter doesn't want to not be able to respond, so they think, it's not that dirty, and it gets left. So 2 sets of those for each firefighter on every new helmet. Expanded cache of our existing bunker gear so that, as I spoke about before, we could have extra gear so that they can take a few days to get their main gear washed. Third-party annual advanced inspection and cleaning of bunker gear. 2 bunker gear extractors in each station. So that's an initiative that started previous chief, and we have 2 bunker gear extractors, and we can clean not only bunker gear in those, but we can also clean gloves, the helmet soft goods, and balaclavas in those as well. We have TFT decontamination packs on apparatus from each station so that they can post decontaminate after the fire. We have post-fire hygiene wipes on apparatus at each station. And showers, we addressed the showers and we addressed what's working and what's not working with them and kind of where we need to go in the future to make things better for our firefighters. The respiratory protection program, and finally the diesel exhaust capture systems.
Mine.
Email 4 summarized the information and gave day-to-day firefighter cancer prevention tips. So I received a lot of positive feedback on the way it was rolled out. And I found it really beneficial because as I was putting it together, I was looking at all of our OGs and our processes and found that some of them frankly needed to change. So I updated some things, and some of those were, for example, created a new OG for post-fire decontamination, updated our OG on reducing vehicle exhaust in fire stations, updated our OG on personal vehicle use. That one's really important to me. We know the dangers, or we are getting to know the dangers of what a firefighter goes through, but we have to be really careful, especially in our volunteer system where they're back in their personal vehicle. We don't want dirty gear in there. We don't want them taking that stuff home. We don't want their children coming in contact, spouse coming into contact with it, their pets, whatever it may be. So that needed to be updated. And then also updating our OG on station tours and fire and life safety presentations. Gone are the days of bringing a child into the fire station and letting them
There.
you going to shut that off?
Yes.
Gone are the days of bringing them in and putting some something that might have carcinogens on a child or anyone for that matter. They don't know the risks. We know the risks, and we need to make sure that we don't put them in harm's way. So, I mean, we're here to protect people, property, and the environment, and that includes when they're in our stations, even to learn something like fire prevention.
Can you just? I was listening to the buzzing. You're not going to allow kids in the fire trucks?
We still will, but we're not going to take a dirty fire helmet and put it on a kid.
Oh, okay, okay.
We're going to make sure that things are cleaned and that we have, if we have smaller sets of gear now that's like costume gear that they can wear, or we could have clean gear that's out of service that they can wear. The emails also included links to different documents, supporting videos, and then references to our own Plympton-Wyoming operating guideline. So all in all, I would say it was a pretty worthwhile endeavor. Took a little bit to get things together, but I think the whole process hopefully helped some of our members, and as well helped me get a few documents in order as well.
Any questions, Gary, on that topic?
Not on that one, just to thank the chief and the department for doing that. It's something I think that's been long overdue, and anything we can do to educate, help our firefighters is great, so. It's good.
Kristen?
I echo those sentiments, and it's the first time I've seen OGs, so they look, and nice to see you're just setting those guidelines and expectations. It's good for due diligence, right? Puts everybody in the same thing, like. Yes, I like it.
Yeah, I personally myself, I think it's an extremely important topic, and we've been hearing a little bit more and more about this as the months and the years in the past. And I know the previous chief had talked about new kinds of bunker gear also, and I think it's already started out in British Columbia and stuff, replacing bunker gear with this new type. At that time, he didn't know where it was going or all the details, so that kind of was dead in the water. The other thing that we have done here, or I should say the firefighters have done here, the chief's shower facilities, especially in Wyoming. I'm not sure how much they get used, and I'm not here to discuss that tonight. That's your guidelines, whatever you do. I think Kamlaki, we need some catching up to do on showers there, if I'm not mistaken. So I think, we should advance that, at least give the choice to have those showers for men and women firefighters. And so that needs to be, I think, brought up the priority list there for those showers in Kamlaki. I know there was some issues around it, but we discussed it before. So a very important topic, and we hear about this cancer thing all the time in firefighters reports and stuff like that. So I don't know a lot about it, but it's very serious stuff. So thank you for what you're doing and doing it. Okay, Gary, you had a new item?
Well, did you want to do yours first, Mr. Chair, or?
No, we'll leave that one till last, I guess.
Okay, thank you. Just a question, Chief. We've been talking the last year or two about our firefighters coming up to speed for the 2026 guideline. I believe it's July, that they have to be at a certain level of training. And presumably that's, where the training start, one level to get, but I'm sure there's more that always continues to have to be ongoing. Do you have just a rough, we're only like 5 months out from the July. Do you have a feel of where we're at as far as numbers go? Are we going to meet that target that we set for ourselves? I'll ask that question first, if you don't mind, Chief.
So I'm prepared to give you a bit of a detailed review of things through the chair. Maybe I'll let you ask all the questions before I go through my little rant here, but I do have my thumb on the pulse, so to speak, of where we're at and with each level. And I think a lot of people don't understand how complex the certification guideline is, regulation is. So I could get into that a little bit. That might help to understand it better.
We don't have to go deep, but just give us an idea if you don't mind, Chief.
Okay, so through the chair, Ontario Regulation 34322 is the firefighter certification regulation. It came into force April 2022, and it actually has two. What's not being talked about a lot is it has two certification deadlines within that document. The first one, which is the one everyone's focusing on, is the July 1st, 2026 deadline. But it also has a July 1st, 2028 deadline in there as well. So I'll just talk first about the July 1st, 2026 deadline. And I think the document, it's like a choose your own adventure novel. And it depends on which level of service you provide in your municipality to tell you where you need to be. So I'll just talk specific to Plympton-Wyoming, which may not be for every fire department, but for us being on a full service model, meaning we do respond to structure fires, we do interior attack, and we do vehicle extrication, and we just material response to the operations level. So for firefighters, people at the rank of firefighter, that means they have to have NFPA 1001 firefighter 1, NFPA 1001 firefighter 2, hazmat awareness, NFPA 1072 awareness and operations. And right now we have about 4 firefighters from our entire roster who are existing firefighters. This is not brand new firefighters who obviously still need to be trained, but existing members, there's about 4 who are in the process of finishing that up. So I'm confident that we will have them certified, given, if they don't happen to pass a test or something like that and it gets passed July 1st, then we'll address that, meaning they won't be responding to calls. They'll just have to be a non-responding firefighter until we get that. But we're only talking about 4 at this point. Now fire officers are required to take NFPA 1021, NFPA, which is Fire Officer 1, NFPA 1041, which is Fire Instructor 1. And right now, of all of our officers, we only have 2 that are still short on certification. So one is in the process of finishing it, which that'll happen. And the other has no indications that I've found yet to want to proceed. So that they would have to drop in rank. They wouldn't be allowed to remain as a supervisor past July 1st, 2026. The next one that's seldom talked about is pump operations is in that July 1st, 2026 deadline. So all of your pump operators have to be certified. And for us, we don't have the luxury of saying, okay, only certain people are going to be pump operators. We're going on the model that everybody's going to be a pump operator. So we've actually had really, really good success with people wanting to do the program. And I don't have that number off the top of my head as to exactly how many, but I'm going to say we're well over 50% certified in pump ops. And the rest are either booked to be certified or interested in being certified. There'll be some outliers there that we'll have to chase, no doubt, but my intentions moving forward is we put this into some succession planning, and if we want everybody certified to pump ops, then we'll make it a mandatory requirement as they progress through, so that they don't progress until they get it. As right now, we're just kind of starting with, we have what we have. So I'm pretty confident that as we go forward and we get it into a bit of a system, it'll work much better for us. Now, there's also a requirement for fire prevention inspection. That's NFPA 1031. And right now I'm doing the inspections, and I was certified in 2014. So we're covered there. Fire investigations. So fire investigator, which is NFPA 1033. Right now I'm certified. I was certified in 2019, and I'm doing the fire investigations, but both district chiefs are going to become certified so that they can cover for me. Fire and life safety educator 1035. We've had a lot of our firefighters express an interest in that and have proceeded into that training and certification. None are fully certified yet. I am fully certified. None of them are fully, but they're partially certified, some of them. So we're in really good shape for that. So that's the people that go out to the schools and make the programs for educating the public. So lots of interest. That's not always a popular topic amongst firefighters, but we have had really, really good luck with our firefighters there. Fire instructor. So NFPA 1041. And there's level 1 and level 2. So both of our training captains are certified to the proper level. So we're good there. Incident safety officer is another one that's kind of fallen off everyone's radar, and that's NFPA 1521. And I have it. I was certified in 2021, and we don't have anyone else on the department that has it. We recognize that as a shortcoming, and we've been requesting a course through our training center, but the province hasn't supported one yet. So as a backup plan, I did request a learning contract for one, meaning we could teach it in-house. I would have to teach it in-house. And that, and, you know, frankly, that's just a lot more onerous upon myself, which I feel I have enough other things to do. So if we can get it through the regional training center, it's probably a better plan for us. But we'll have a backup plan anyways. So again, we'll put that through a succession planning phase in process. So right now, what I'm thinking is position of lieutenant, that would be a requirement for that position to become a safety officer before they move up to captain. So we start to get some of the stuff just taken care of as people progress and become promoted. The 2028 deadline, and I'll just speak briefly on that. I know we weren't looking for anything detailed. So that includes rope rescue, that includes confined space, trench rescue, surface water, ice water, heavy vehicle rescue. Yeah, and all of those are included in our E&R bylaw as services we provide. So we will have some work to do to meet those 2028 deadlines. Now, having said that, don't think we're putting that off, because a lot of these there's no courses for them yet. So the province has set the deadlines, but they haven't set us up for success by offering the programs. So we will address that and really focus right now on the July 1st deadline for 2026. And then the specialty rescues is what I call them, specialty rescue 1006 items we will have to address. And that may mean I come back to you with an E&R bylaw suggestion change, or find that it's quite achievable. We'll see how available the courses become. So in a nutshell, that's kind of where we're at. The certification, I think it's always been it's a lot more, it's multifaceted more than people realize as to how many different certifications and what people need different ones. So when I say we're in a good spot, overall, we're in a really good spot, especially compared to a lot of other fire departments. So, you know, and this has all come through in-house fire officer, we taught in-house, fire instructor, we taught in-house, firefighter 1, we taught in-house, firefighter 2, hazmat. We also had people go to the regional training center. We've had people do online courses through the Ontario Fire College. It's been a whole bunch of different streams to get people there. So I know the push is on to get the training budget down, and I'll say I think we'll see it decrease a bit, but there'll always be a lot of maintenance type training, these skills for our firefighters. Not to mention the turnover of firefighters as we see that we've presented some awards for some people a little longer in the tooth than others, and they've been around for quite a while, and that's just doesn't seem to be the way things are in the fire service anymore. In the volunteer fire service, they're more 5 to 10 years as opposed to 30 to 40 year members.
Okay, thank you. Any comments on that?
No, I appreciate the complexity and taking the time to share that information with us, because we've been hearing stuff for the last couple of years. Make the target, but now we have some definite stuff that shows me, I'm sure our residents, that, you know, we are on top of the training. We have training because we want to protect our residents. So good with that. Thanks, Chief.
Comments?
I don't have the bylaw in front of me, but for our service, what kind of services? So I just want to clarify. When you said the hazardous material response was part of this 2026 deadline, I believe. some sort of certification. I assume there's different levels of certification. And I don't know which one we're at. Like, we have all that kind of to do, like hazmat and like, I don't understand what kind of hazardous material are we talking about?
Through the chair, I can certainly with that. So hazardous materials NFPA 1072 standard, it's switching now to the NFPA 470 standard, kind of as we speak. Nonetheless, it has three streams. It has an awareness level, an operations level, and a technician level. Our ENR bylaw says that we perform to the operations level, which means we take defensive actions. We don't go in and fix things, but we keep people back and we mitigate the problem the best we can. We can do damming and diking and things like that, absorbent but there is another level above where we are at, which we're not there. That would be pretty onerous on us to get to a higher level. So there's no proposal to hire. Linked with that as a co-requisite, NFPA 1072 at the operations level is a co-requisite for firefighter 2. So all of our firefighters that have to be firefighter 2 anyways, by virtue of that, have to be operations level hazmat.
Regardless of the.
Regardless of the bylaw, yeah. So, and again, our bylaw says we work to the operations level. Great. Right where we need to be there.
Okay, and then you spoke to the 2028 deadline for the different things. You mentioned like water rescue and things like that. We don't have that currently in our bio, correct?
Yeah, through the chair, we do have that in our ENR
do?
bylaw. We do, and we have surface and ice land-based to the operations level. We have trench, have high angle, low angle. Am I missing confined space? That's probably it to the operations level. So, I can't make a case right now. I can't make a business case on saying if we should or shouldn't try to stick to the current level that we have in our ENR bylaw. I can say this, it's been in our ENR bylaw for a long time and we've not been certified to it.
Mhm.
So now that there's an actual requirement to certify to it, there might be some movement on what we do, but we don't know the rest of the story, being we don't know where the courses are going to be, how much the courses are going to cost, how much interest our members have in taking them. Until we have all of that, I think it's.
And then how much, let's say, demand? How much historical need has there even been for that
Right.
type of service?
Exactly.
Okay.
Hey, I guess, Sean, what about the D licenses? Are we in pretty good shape there too for certification?
Through the chair, I don't have a number off the top of my head for you with delicensing. What I will say is we're getting people licensed. I had a comment made by one of our captains the other day. He said, it seems like that I'm announcing someone who got their license. It's happening like every week. So I gave the district chiefs and the officers a push to get people licensed, and they have absolutely done that and come through. We have Eric Van Morsel, who's been just outstanding at taking people around and getting them ready to be licensed and to test. So we're getting in a lot better shape than we've ever been, say that, and we're getting through most people. But again, what we haven't had in the past is any sort of carrot to dangle for people. We've given them the ability to go on and be firefighters without getting their D license. So back to this succession planning, making it an earlier step so that we have a bit of leverage so that we can make sure people get licensed. We certainly are crippled get to the fire hall and there's no drivers. You know how important it is and something, I think putting it in the front loading it will be a lot better for us in the future.
That is a condition of being a firefighter, correct?
It is a condition of being a firefighter. Volunteer system has lots of conditions. And, it's always been a struggle to enforce those conditions, so. We're, of course, enforcing them when we have to, but trying to make it easier for people and fit it in earlier when it's better for them to get it.
That's gonna be my next comment, like. You know, it's like pump operators and stuff, whatever. Maybe not everybody just really good at some of that stuff. I know it's mandatory, however. The report that you just gave and what's expected of a volunteer firefighter. So no wonder you have, you know, not just us, but everybody has retention problems because it is so overwhelming. When you do a report like that and how much training and certification and recertification. And then what we expect of them. You have to have it. Wow. So I don't, you know, I'm not suggesting any changes, but you know, sometimes in certain jobs, there should be some wiggle room. For people that can't achieve, maybe somebody's just not a good fire truck driver. Maybe you wouldn't want them at the wheel, but we don't have anything that allows that really. You're supposed to get it.
Through the chair, so we do, I mean, of course, we're an employer and we have to accommodate people as appropriate, so I have conversations. I'm not gonna say often, but
Yeah.
you know, there are certain things that some people just can't do and we have to accommodate, so we do. Of course, as an employer, do that when we have to.
Good. Okay, that's all I have on that one. Anything else?
Are we doing new business?
We're on.
Are you finishing new business or can I,
Yeah, we'll let you go first, and then I'll do the last one on.
oh, before I get to.
Yeah.
So I just had two questions. One was on the fire hydrants. And I've seen it in our budget. For the maintenance, like who's responsible for that? Do you guys go around and test them or just Public Works?
So through the chair, it's all through Public Works, yeah. All of our infrastructure.
And second question. So who decides who goes to, how many trucks roll, how many firefighters, whatever are needed to go to a call? Is that the incident commander? I know the type of call, so they dictate some of that. But then on the ground, is that like to make sure? Going,
Through the chair, so I guess to answer the question, first off, it's covered in our operating guideline. We have a response guideline that says which apparatus go to which types of calls. But as a basic thought is we typically respond with 3 apparatus out of each hall, of each station. And that's a standard response for us. We don't do well when we end up with 2 apparatus and what we need at the call is on the other one that's back at the station, which is quite a bit different than a large city department where they get dispatched by individual apparatus. We get dispatched by our station. Station goes, everyone available goes. There's not enough time and you don't know enough about the incident to know how many people can go. You never know who's responding, so everyone available.
Okay. Okay, under new business, 10.2, Amlathi Fire Area Discussion. I had this put on the agenda. We're not gonna get too deep into it tonight. I think this is gonna be the long-term discussion. There is some people asking for more information on timing and time trials and all this from Kamlaki Station. We've gone through this before
Anytime.
and many times, and those figures are available. But as we all know, we've just recently signed a contract with Plympton Shores to cover the area in the north end of our municipality, and that's fine. So at that time, when we signed the contract, there certainly was some issues around the contract and what's our service level. So we committed, I think we committed to having this discussion over the next period of time and find out just, I mean, that area's out there is expanding more and more all the time, more houses, so we need to clearly understand, and I guess, what sparks a lot of this discussion that, if there's a structure fire out there, we've got 3 fire departments responding way out to the north end of our community. Wyoming is responding, Kamlaki's responding, and Forest is responding. And we know it's at a significant cost. I think there was 3 fire calls and, it was $2,000 for 3 fire calls. So there's a big expense to it to begin with, even that you have to have fire protection. However, we need to take a look at it and find out just, how many trucks should be responding. Whether we can or cannot respond. We went through this before, and it's not an easy topic. It's not a light decision that I don't think this committee would like to have to make, but we need to take a look at this because the cost of this is huge. And not only that, you got 3 fire departments, you could have 3 fire departments tied up way the heck at the north end of our community at a fire. And then we've got the same situation here at the south end of our community because our equipment up there too. So it's a long discussion that we need to have. I don't know what the answer to it is. It's over. At the budget meeting, we had a good discussion on it. So for tonight, I don't know if the other committee members have any comments on it or they discuss tonight, but I think it's a long discussion, not something that's going to happen overnight.
I think, Mr. Chair, if I may, I think we left that in the hands of Chief Davidson and his people to come back to us with what their plan and what the new information that we need for this moving forward. So I'm comfortable waiting for the chief and his people to come back.
Kristen?
Yes, I would agree. I thought that was the direction. You had given us some unofficial, I would say, numbers where you found we were responding before Forest would be in some areas and where they would definitely be quicker. So I think it was more of maybe redefining that. And there is a lot of development that has been approved in that area that would significantly increase these costs in the future. When that happens, I don't know, but it's still something we should be proactively aware of and planning for. And what does that look like? So, yeah, I look forward to seeing some sort of format, with the map. Nobody seems to understand how the map came to be the map. So we can start off with a few roads that end up being, and we'll either here too, you might as well include them, not realizing that costs could escalate down the road. So here we are. So I think it's just more of a matter of seeing what we can or should be responding to. And what does Forest still need to respond to until, we have some sort of other plan moving forward with our Kamlaki station.
Go ahead, Chief.
Well, through the chair, I just want to, it's kind of my pet peeve, so I'm gonna bring this up. I just, when we respond, we're 1 fire department, 2 stations. So by rights, when we're out there with Forest, we'll be 2 fire departments out there. But what we're talking about is a level of service. And that is definitely something that council sets. I can bring back whatever information council would like to make that determination. And I think that that's what we really need to hash out is what do you need? What type of information? And I can certainly put it together myself, but if there's any feedback council wants to give me as to what you'd like to see, I think that's probably pretty constructive and save me some time. We've been looking at this as a two-dimensional problem for a while, and what we mean by that is we continuously look at how long it takes to get from the Forest Fire Station to an address, and how long in comparison to how long it takes to get from the Kimlaki Fire Station to that same address. And that's all well and good, but I did 6 different time trials here. First of all, just to see how it worked out between Google Maps and actually driving it in a pickup truck. And it's very close. You're maybe a minute out. So I think in this day and age, we can realistically get all that information right from Google Maps for time trials, but that's only one half of the equation. And when you're talking minutes, like small amounts of minutes, the other half of that equation is the shoot time that I've been putting into all my reports. So that shoot time is from the time the pager goes off until that fire truck leaves the fire hall. We don't have that information from Plympton Shores. And if that's something council wants me to request, I certainly could. But whether it's available or not, I don't know. But that could be a drastic difference in your decision-making process. And I think it needs to be considered before you look at changing anything. For example, like out of 6, and I picked a couple of big of our assembly occupancies in the area, bigger farms, and then just different areas around the coverage area. And out of the 6, Plympton-Wyoming could be there faster than Lambton Shores. But we're talking 2 minutes faster on one and 1 minute faster on another. So anything on the other side of that equation on your shoot time differences is probably the make or break piece of that. And I don't know this for sure, but we're at a 5.93 minute shoot time out of the Kimlaki station. So that's probably pretty respectable. And I don't know what, I wouldn't want to speculate what Forest would be, but you're probably splitting hairs on most of these, on most of this area. So I think I'll just open that up if at any time any of the members want to think there would be valuable information. I certainly don't mind looking for it, but I don't want to spend a lot of time looking for things you don't really want as well.
I appreciate that and I appreciate your shoot times. I mean, it's almost a unfair statement because as much as ours varies, theirs will definitely vary as well. They're volunteer, no different than us. I've seen responses, I've experienced responses right within the jurisdiction where I would say the shoot time was probably worse in that particular situation, but it's gonna vary no matter what.
Sorry, through the chair.
Yes, sorry, and I just want to say, I guess for me, if we're splitting hairs, as you say, that those hairs were meeting our time lines, then why are we paying another department to do it? Right? So I think that's an important point that we should also not ignore.
Through the chair, I'd say it's obviously it's gonna be close, it's gonna be controversial, there's gonna be people upset one way or the other, we've seen. So, but as far as the shoot times go, we can use it we don't need the shoot times for that area. We need just all of the shoot times on an average. Because it doesn't really matter where they're responding to, where Kim Lackey's station's responding to. It's it's such a small area, there's so few calls there that average shoot time really works.
And I want to be cautious that this is, the end goal isn't to try and cut anybody's services or be controversial in any sense. It's more to put a validity to why we're doing this and why those extra costs are there. Because when we talk about growth and down the road, things will change. So we need to understand why we did what we did. And what I find frustrating about this whole thing is there wasn't a lot of good information that was noted in history to understand and in the justification of it. So it's not that for me anyway, I'm not ready to say let's do anything one way or the other. Just have a good understanding as to why things are the way they are. And if they need to stay the way they are, right? Or if we can make improvements. So I think it's a positive exercise. And obviously we don't want you going down a rabbit hole looking for things you don't need to. So for me, it would be that mapping, understanding, getting those shoot time averages like you're talking about. And then we have it all documented one way or the other, so.
Can I just ask a follow-up question? Just what with the mapping would you like to see? Specifically?
Just the map.
Oh, just a map of the area?
Yeah, the map of what we're talking about, and then what you were talking about on those differences in
So
response.
plot those response times on the
Yes,
map.
exactly.
I think having to shoot time is really important, especially since we are talking a level of care. We want to know the whole picture. So if the whole picture is how long it takes for everyone to muster and then how far the response is, I think getting that average from the forced detachment is important to ensure that we're having accurate.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can argue the fact that you look out your front door over there in Forest, and you can see the houses in your fire department, why they wouldn't respond. I mean, that just makes so much sense. That's not the way the system is set up. Everybody's got their lines, right? We go to here and Wyoming go to here. But the fire department's the closest. I know if I had a house out there, whatever's closest, ones I want responding to my house. So I agree with Chris, we're not here to take anything away from anybody, but for business sense for Plympton-Wyoming, we had to pay that extra contract fees plus respond to the fire also. It's the other that we have to respond also, and they get to leave. That's when the questions come up, what the heck is going on? So we have to justify that. That's just the way it is. And if it's having a contract, which is a good contract, by the way, there's nothing wrong with it, then so be it. But then council have to be prepared to pay the extra fees because it's significant for just an area. But as that area grows out there, and it is, we may have a subdivision right there in Town's End line. I mean, well, we will eventually. So that's what we're after, justification. And as long as it all comes together, and I know, Will, you mentioned before, to pull something away that they already have can cause an awful lot of controversy. And that's not, let me repeat, that is not what we're up to here. Just need to have the justification here for staff to be able to, take a look at it. And if they have to do contracts out there, then so be it. But can't fly by the seat of her pants and say, yeah, you're going to get triple coverage and the other end of town, not going to get triple. You know the whole story. Talked about this. So then, like I say, we're not the only ones asking these questions, by the way. It's certainly members of the public, some members of the public are asking it also. So, and council asked it, some council members asked the budget. So we'll leave it there. We'll leave it in your hands, Will. We're not asking you to have this like 2 weeks or work away at it. And we're here for the rest of the year, at least till October. This committee.
And I think right now it's pretty limited information. So outside of the shoot times for Lambton Shores, which I can't control. Don't know how long that would take to get, but the rest of it won't take very long to get. So if there's more decision-making things you would like, by all means, just let me know. And if things I think of, I'll certainly include it, but like maybe certain addresses and things like that into that area.
That's kind of where my mind is at, is just with the limited knowledge that I have on this. You know, certain, can be covered, by just the same. It's this area, you know, it's just having a good understanding. Yeah, but to be able to say if extra fees are there. I know at the end of the day, nobody cares where that fire truck's coming from. One help, so like that.
And to be fair, the chair of the fire department doesn't, we will respond to whatever council wants us to respond to. We have no real, we're not swung either way on this, so it's whatever direction we're given, where we'll go. We're gonna be there anyways.
Yeah. Okay, anything else on that?
No, I'm done.
Okay, and no other new business? Okay, we don't have any closed meeting things tonight. Item number 12 on the agenda, and thanks for that report, Will. That's good conversation. Moved by Gary Atkinson, second by Chris Rodriguez. The Fire Exec Committee adjourns until the March 2nd, 2026 meeting at 5 p.m.